Welcome back, guys. So, if you are new here, I am doing this series to show you how to troubleshoot basic Kubernetes issues that you will most likely encounter while working as an SRE or DevOps engineer. And we are doing like kind of easy questions right now, and we will gradually start increasing the complexity of the questions. But without any further delay, let's apply our pod that we have. And if I do an apply on pod.yaml, let's zoom in. And if I do a kget pods, it is running. So we'll do a kget events, and you can see that it has picked up the Bitnami image. The pod is running, the image is there. And if I do a cat on my pod.yaml, you will see it is running a shell command. This is the command. Let's see. So k logs, not deployment. We have our pod and then API Explorer. Over here is the issue. You cannot see the pod logs because the system account that we are using for to run this pod does not has access to do it. So if I do a kget SA, which is service account, it is default. And if I do a -o YAML, you can see that this service account is very basic and there's nothing much in here. So one way to check if you can run any commands is auth can I, and then you say, what do you want to do? I want to list pods. So list pods, and it says yes. So here you can see that I can list the pods. But the problem is I, as an user like Vishu, who is running this Kubernetes cluster locally, can list the pods. The problem is over here. The problem is we are trying to run the pod and list it with a service account. So this command is technically correct because I am trying to see if I can list the pods, and I can. But can the service account list the pods? So over here, I have to say -- as equal to system. Basically, you just copy paste this. I don't think we need to put the double quotes, and it says no. So I, as a user who is running this, my credentials are in here .kube config. My credentials are here. I cannot show it over here. But as this user, I can run the pods. I can list the pods because I have super admin because I created this cluster in my local environment. But if you want to run a pod with the system account, with a service account of default, then you cannot list the pods. So how do we fix this issue? One way is you create a YAML file with a cluster role, with a role binding of a cluster role. It's going to take a while. So I will show you a quick command, which is create. We have to create a role binding because we are binding a role to a service account. Which service account are we going to do it at? We are going to do it with default. And then we'll name it something. So default view binding. And then we'll put, where do we want this? Actually, let's go to the next line. Which cluster role are we going to use? We'll do cluster role equal to view because we just want to view the pods, and service account. Actually, it is namespace test lab default. So let's run this. Exactly one name is required, got 3. Let's run the -h command. And over here, you can see whatever we wrote, and it's namespace service account group. The problem that we have is this double hyphen, which we did not put over here. So I just put in the command without putting the --. So let's run the command again. And over here, you can see that I forgot to put the --. So -- and now cluster role is not valid. And it's because I have a typo, and it created our default role binding. So if I do a kget role bindings, we'll get the default role bindings. And if I do a -o YAML, you can see that it created a cluster role with the name view. The actual name is default view binding in the namespace test lab, which we are at right now. And it's created to service account default in this test lab namespace. So if I do a kubectl So if I run this command now, it says yes, kget pods and klogs, API Explorer, and you can see that it is running right now. So we can run it from inside the pod by creating this cluster role, which allows us to do a view on the service account. So I think that is it for this video, guys. Sorry for the misunderstanding, the typos that I had. As I mentioned earlier, I take an example and I just run with it without testing it, which is why you will get these mistakes. Like I forgot to put a hyphen over here, and also I had a typo over here. So I'll keep making these mistakes because I just like start the video. But I hope this was helpful. I hope you remember this command because this is very useful and you don't have to go through the trouble of creating a YAML and all. But that is it for this video, guys. And I will see you guys in the next one.